iHeart, get ready. Fantasy football is here. Welcome to the Scout Fantasy Show. ScoutFantasy.com is home to the Fantasy Football World Championships and the best players in the world. Real money winners giving their secrets to help you win. Now exclusively on iHeart. This is the Scout Fantasy Show with your host, the one, the only, Dr. Roto.
It's Dr. Roto. Get out the insurance cards. Get out the copay. The office is open, my friends. So here's what I wanted to do. I'm going to give you a little layout of the plan. So I'm going to start my nutshell in a series probably in early February, okay? Maybe right around Labor. I think Labor's Tuesday the 13th. So right around then, I'm going to start my In the Nutshell series where I go through every team. Not like Sean Childs does, because that's a little bit insane and does an amazing job, and I don't want to compete with that. I just want to give you the teams in the nutshell. Who they have, who they're going to play, guys to look for, quick hits. So if you only have look, if you got 25 minutes or 30 minutes, read Sean. If you got 3 minutes and you want something quick, read my stuff. That's what it's there for. So this way we can appeal to all different types of people who are members of Scout Fantasy. Prior to that, what I'm going to try to do is go through some ADPs and do what I call high-low, right? I'm going to try to find 3 guys who are high, medium, and low, and see what their ADP is, and then see also if I like when they're taken. So I'd like to start that today with catcher. So let's begin with Gary Sanchez. Gary Sanchez's most recent ADP is 20. Now, for purposes of this podcast and all my future podcasts, I will talk about 15-team leagues and not 12. Some of you may play 12, some of you may play 10. I will just use 15. That's what I prefer. I prefer a larger baseball league than smaller. Okay? If Gary Sanchez is number 20 overall, that means he's going in the early second round. I'm never taking him there. This is not to say that Gary Sanchez is not a good player. Gary Sanchez is a tremendous player. He's absolutely tremendous. But he is a catcher, okay? And I'm hoping he gets 450 at-bats in a tremendous lineup. But let's look at his numbers. Can we say about 280, 35 home runs, 90 RBIs, 80 runs scored, maybe a stolen base here or there? That's very good. That's exceptional. But if you take Gary Sanchez in round 2, who are you giving up that you could have taken? So, for example, in the FSTA, Francisco Lindor, Chris Sale, Anthony Rizzo, George Springer, Cody Bellinger. These are all names that are second-round names. I would have taken all these guys over Gary Sanchez. In a perfect world, in Dr. Roto's perfect world, I am taking Gary Sanchez in the 3rd round. I want to have 2 guys before him and then take Gary Sanchez. Now, there's something called position scarcity that I want to discuss. This is something that you're going to hear me and Sean Childs and Adam Ronis and any fantasy baseball analyst talk about in the coming weeks and months. So what does this mean? It means when a position is scarce, i.e. catcher, people are willing to take an earlier pick on their catcher because the position is so scarce. Because by waiting, you may be left with a catcher who's one of the dregs. Because of that, people get very nervous and they want the best guy. I can equate it to, in fantasy football, taking Rob Gronkowski early. There's always one guy in a league who takes Rob Gronkowski early, and the comment is, I got the best tight end. I got it. I'm with you. I don't do it. I never draft based on position scarcity because I always feel that I know the player pool enough that I can wait. If I want to draft Gary Sanchez, it's because I think he's a legitimate 3rd round pick, not because I'm taking him just to have the best catcher. That's how I play it. So I will never be forced into a position to take Gary Sanchez just because he's the best player out there. That's not the reason you take him. It's not. The reason you take him is because you think he is that value. Don't worry about the position. And if any fantasy analyst out there, any expert says, oh, I really like position scarcity, find another analyst. Seriously, find another analyst. Now, Gary Sanchez, to me, has to hit exactly what you think he will in order to reach value. That's a very tough thing to do. Can he do it? Yes. Can he go 35-90? Absolutely. I don't doubt that for a second. But what I'm arguing is this. If he doesn't do 35-90, he certainly wasn't worth second or third round. And isn't the point of fantasy baseball to take a guy earlier or to take a guy later and get value, right? If I take a guy in the 10th round who gets me 6th round value, that's better than taking a guy in the 3rd round and getting 3rd round value. Make sense? You always want to improve and increase your value. So, let's look at a second catcher here. Mike Zunino. Mike Zunino is going in the round pick 161. That's the middle of the 10th round. I love that value for Zunino. Now, is he going to hit 25 points lower than Sanchez? He will. Could he hit 30 home runs? Maybe. Could he hit 80 RBIs? It's possible. Could he get 70 runs scored? Perhaps. He's not that far off from Gary Sanchez. And I can take him 7 to 8 rounds later. So isn't it better to have Zunino in round 10 and take Francisco Lindor in round 2 than it is to take Gary Sanchez? I think it is. Not everybody will agree with me. Remember, fantasy baseball is a puzzle. It's a huge, huge puzzle that we try to figure out the pieces. How does this connect? Where does this go? How does it fit in? Now, if I'm banking on Mike Zunino going 30-80, right, and hitting 250, what if he hits 220? That would hurt me. What if he only gets 20 home runs? That could happen too, right? That's the gamble I'm taking. But I'm also taking Mike Zunino in round 10 and not in round 2 or 3 like I would have to Gary Sanchez. I'm more comfortable waiting for Mike Zunino. What I like to call Mike Zunino is Gary Sanchez light. He's Gary Sanchez light. Gary Sanchez is appreciably better. But Mike Zunino, it's like the same taste, less calories. Right? It's like a light beer. Not going to kill you. Doesn't taste as good, but it's not going to kill you. Okay? So what I want you to do is to try to look at players and say, well, Sanchez is this. Zunino will get me 80% of Sanchez, but I could also take him 8 rounds later. Does that make him good value? Yes, it makes him excellent value. Let's take a look at another catcher, Chris Iannetta. His ADP is 300. That's the 20th round. Now, there are different types of people in your league. First of all, guy number 1 takes catchers early. Guy number 2 likes to get a guy in the middle rounds. And guy number 3 likes taking catchers at the end. Well, isn't Chris Iannetta a perfect guy to take towards the end? Where is he playing right now? Colorado. They signed him to a 2-year, $8.5 million contract. He's going to get 350 at-bats. If he gets 350 at-bats in the Colorado air, you'd have to think he hits 20 home runs. Is he as good as Mike Zunino? Probably not. But Chris Iannetta could go 20 home runs, 45, 50 RBIs, and hit 250. You know what he is? He's Mike Zunino light. And I can get him 10 rounds later than Mike Zunino. Right? Isn't that the beauty of getting Chris Iannetta? I can get 20 home runs in round 20. I don't have to get 35 home runs in round 2. And Mike Zunino's 30 home runs are round 10. But I can wait on Iannetta and get a guy who's like Mike Zunino light. Is that the right move? It very well may be. So here's what I like to do at catcher. I like to get one catcher that I can trust. One guy who I know I can trust. Because most leagues have 2 catchers. So my first guy doesn't have to be Gary Sanchez, but I don't want to take my first guy much later than round 10. I want Mike Zunino. I want Sal Perez. I want Wilson Contreras. I want one guy who I trust. With my second catcher, I can then wait. I can take a guy in round 13, 15, 17, 20, depending on value. I won't wait till round 29 because I want some numbers. Some people will wait till round 29 and just take what we call the $1 catcher. That's not me. I think when you do that, you lose. But I'll take a guy in round 16. I may take Zunino in 10 and Ionate in 18. I'll feel pretty good about that. I will. I'll feel pretty good about that. Let's see in the FSTA. Jim Bowden took Brian McCann in 14. No other catcher. Steve Gardner took JT Realmuto in round 9. No second catcher. CDM Sports took Chris Ionate in round 16. Like it. Roto Baller Radio took Sal Perez in 7 and took Grandal in 21. RotoWire took Gary Sanchez at 3 and is waiting for their second catcher. NFBC took Buster Posey in 6 and Stephen Vaught in 21. Fantistics took Gaddis in 12 and Darno in 16. I like that. I like when you get guys close like that. I took Contreras in 5 and Austin Barnes in 14. I like getting 2 decent catchers by that point. Baseball HQ took Zunino in 12 and Yad Molina in 14. I like that move a lot. Guru Elite has Wellington Castillo in round 15. That's it. Fantasy Alarm has Tyler Flowers in round 17. These guys are waiting. SiriusXM took Russell Martin in round 20. He's totally waiting. Creative Sports Law Michaels took Robinson Chirinos in round 15. And then finally, Colton the Wolfman went round 13, 14, took them back-to-back, Ramos and Lucroy. I like that move if I'm on the wheel. If I'm on the wheel, right, if I'm picking at the end, I like taking 2 guys like that. Makes a lot of sense to me. Love that, actually. I get 2 guys and I'm done. I don't have to worry. Did I love Lucroy there? I didn't, but I like the idea there. The idea makes perfect sense to me. So here's my strategy. Think about what you want to do at catcher. I like one good guy in the first 10 rounds, and then I want my second guy between rounds 10 and 15. So by the end of round 15, I want 2 respectable catchers. They don't have to be stars. I don't need stars. I need respectability. Because as I like to say, I don't want players who suck. You can't win when you have sucky players. Call me crazy. That should be rule number 1 of any fantasy league. Don't get players who suck. It's pretty simple. So I want 2 guys who are decent, who won't kill me. 1, I'd rather be good, and 1, I'd rather be mediocre. If I do that, I'll be ahead of the game at catcher. I don't need to be the number 1 guy, but I'll be ahead of about 10 or 11 other teams, especially in a 15-team league. Okay? I hope that helped. You know what else is going to help you? Going to scoutdfs.com. You want to win in daily fantasy sports? Scoutdfs.com. It's NBA time. Fuego Steve, Jaguar Lou, Willie Walls, Nate Weitz are all people who are going to help you win money in DFS. So it's NBA time. And of course, PGA. Get your PGA there, fixed there. I have it up there, and we've had articles up every week. I love the PGA. Ollie Schneider-Jans cost me a lot of money, but I had 5 out of 6 guys make the cut. I would have been my own rich friend if Ollie Schneider-Jans made the cut. So check it all out at scoutdfs.com. But right now it's time to put away the insurance cards, put away the copay. The office is closed, my friends. Back with more ADP high-lows tomorrow. This is Dr. Roto saying be well, take care.
Thanks for listening to the Scout Fantasy Show. There's never been a better time to join the Scout Army. Visit scoutfantasy.com. Use the promo ROTO for 2 months free. And don't forget, fantasy players, please thumbs up the podcast on the iHeart app. See you next time. Go Scouts!